Hello and welcome back. My name is VanessaBlank from Wild Women Bushcraft, and in the video today I want to talk about forgotten knowledge. I show you 5 important trees that every bushcrafter should know and also tell you why. When you are interested, stay tuned and come with me. The tree that I want to show you at first grows behind me. This is the willow tree. The willow tree loves to grow at wet places like at lakes or rivers. Did you know that you maybe often take pills that urgentine is also in the willow bark? No? If you use the painkiller aspirin, you do it, because in the willow bark is salicin, and this is also the same that you use in the painkiller aspirin. And of course, in the past there was no medicine like we had today. So if they have something what hurts, so like headache or stomach pain, abdominal pain, they drink and tea with willow bark. Very easy but effective. There are 500 willow tree species, so I cannot tell you they grow like this, because they grow as a tree or also as a bush. And in the past they used the willow tree branches very often. They built fences with it or baskets. And today, if you are in a survival situation, you can use the branches very good as a fish trap, because they are very flexible. The tree that I want to show you at next stands behind me, an oak tree. Of course, in the winter times it is not so easy to find the right tree, because the leaves are not at the tree. But the oak tree has some signs where you can really good find out which tree it is. I'll show you the bark later, because the bark is very special for the oak tree. And this here is a leaf from the oak tree. I'll show it to you soon closer. It's rounded up, very special. But the great thing is that the oak tree have this here, acorns. They are in the family of the nuts, and they have included very important stuff for us if we have to survive in the nature. I tell you later what it is, but at first I want to tell you that the oak tree has also a great wood, because it is hardwood. It is very expensive because of this. It can be stable over hundreds of years. So they breed beer and wine in them. So, and the wood burns not so easy on, but when it burns for hours. So it is a great wood. If you have a campfire started with another tree which starts easier, like pine tree, they have a lot of resin inside. They burn faster and easier. But when you have started a fire and you put some oak tree wood inside, it would be great. So this here is the bark of the oak tree, and as you can see, it is not even. There are a lot of those scratches inside, and this is very typical for the oak tree. And here, once again, in detail, the leaf. So it is so windy today, I hope you can see it. And here we have the acorn, and the acorn is growing in those holders at the tree, and when they are ready, they fall down to the ground. In 100 grams of acorns are 40 grams of carbohydrates, 6 grams of proteins, 24 grams of fat, and 390 calories. And there are unsaturated fatty acids, and they are considered beneficial for health. And of course there are also a lot of B vitamins. The oak tree or the acorns are a really good sign how much we forget over the generations, because for our grandparents this was a normal food. After the war they often had nothing else to eat as those acorns, and also the native Indians, the Native Americans used them for a very long time. I've made a video about how you can survive only with those acorns, and there I tell you everything in detail, how you find them, how you collect them, how you prepare them and how you can eat them. So because of this, today only a short information. It is not possible to eat the acorns like this, because there are urchinidans inside which are not good for our body. They are poisonous, but not so poisonous that you fall down from the chair if you eat it, but your stomach will be very grumpy if you eat it. So you have to cut them, put the wooden cover away and put them in water for several days. But all these informations, they are in the extra video, how you can survive with the acorns. I put a link to the video in the video description. If you are interested, feel free to click in. This oak tree is a very young one, but there are oak trees in Germany that are hundreds of years old. They are very beautiful. And in these trees there are dead branches. And here in Germany we call those dead branches widowmaker. Because in the past, when a storm came, many forest workers died because of this widowmakers when they fall down in storm. So in Germany we have this words, when a storm comes, Buchen sollst du suchen, Eichen sollst du weichen. That means when a storm comes, you should search for protection under beech trees, but stay away from oak trees because of those widowmakers. Here in the background you see a tree with many different possibilities. This is the birch tree, and we take now a closer look. So at first the whole tree that you know how the birch tree looks. So it is this here, the one with the white bark. And when you look at the tree, it is going very straight up and it has not a big crown. The branches are here in the two upper parts and they are very close to the tree themselves. So it is a very small tree, very thin. So now we take a closer look to the bark of the birch tree, and the very significant sign is the white bark. So in Germany there's only one tree which is similar to the birch tree, but of course there are differences. So the birch is white, but there are some black lines here, and those parts that looks like the birch is broken up. And this tree is so great because you can eat everything of it. You can eat the leaves. You can eat the leaves when they are still in their covers in the spring. You can eat the seeds, the flowers and the bark. So isn't it great to know a tree which is very easy to find because of those looking signs, and you know I can eat everything of it? Great. And the wood is also very great because it burns without smoke. So I was often sitting in the woods making a fire, and I was allowed to make the fire. But when the fire makes a lot of smokes, I don't feel well, because I know if somebody sees it, they maybe call the firemen because they think there is a wood burn. And when they would come, it would be very bad for me. Also when I do nothing, but it is great to know that there is a wood which has no smoke. Here are the branches in detail. This is how they look. They are very thin, and if you have no willow tree, you can make transport batch out of them. This here are the seeds. Oh, okay, now they are away. In the Nordic countries, the people use the birch tree as a healing tree and also to eat it. And here in Germany and Europe, the knowledge about the birch tree is not so popular, and this has a simple reason. Because the Celtic, they thought the birch tree is a sign of reproducing. It is a sign for women, and that they can produce children. And when the Catholics come over, they forbidden thoughts like this. And because of this, the people forget for long times how they could use the birch tree. Because you can, like I told you before, really use a lot of it. Sorry. In the March, the leaves come out. And then you can eat them. Here I have a small branch. It is too small to show you, I think. But there are small points with the leaves for the coming season inside. And you can eat them. They have a lot of vitamin C included, very healthy. And maybe you know birch cheese and birch water. Some people think they are both the same product, but they are not. Birch water is made out of the leaves from the birch tree. And you can use it for your hairs because it makes your hair stronger. And birch water is known from the tree in the springtime. When they grow out again, they had a lot of water inside, a lot of tree cheese. And you can cut inside of the tree and use the tree cheese. But of course you have to know that you hurt the tree with it. And you should think about it if it is really necessary if you are not in a survival situation. Of course, at this time of the year I cannot show you leaves, but I check at home if I have a photo from them, and then I can show it to you how they look. Because the leaves stimulate the kidney function, and they use them as an infusion traditionally to flush the kidneys. And of course it is also great if you have a urinary tract infection, and it cleans the blood. So they make also yourself like pick me up. You are awake when you use them. It is so cold and windy today. So the birch tree wood is not so a great building wood because it is not so stable, and it is like plastic which is wandering. So, but the birch is really great because it is a very easy and effective fire starter. You can start it also with the fire steel. I tried out if it happens today with the lighter because it is very windy. And sometimes at old and rotten birch trees you find a mushroom which is a great healing mushroom. The German name is Birkenporling. Birken is birch tree. So maybe you have it too. And sometimes they have a mushroom which is also very tasty and expensive. Do you see the small stripes here? If it don't happen from the nature, you can do this with your knife or your fire steel, because inside of them the sparks of the fire steel are so they are catching them very good, and then it burns very fast and strong. So I tried to start the birch tree burning with the lighter, but it is too windy. I need a better space for it. But I can tell you it works, and it works really good. In the past, German forests look like this. A lot of these trees inside. Now there is almost everywhere the spruce tree because it grows much faster. But in the past we had not only, but many of these beech trees, old ones like this here. Trees like this could tell you stories because they are so old, they've seen so much in their lives. If they had mouths, they could tell you years of stories what they see in the past. So now they are fallen down, many of these trees, because beech tree is a great wood for building, because it is very hard and stable, and because of the same reason it is a good burning wood. It is not easy to start it, but if you have a lot of amber and you put on some beech trees, some beech wood on top, it burns for a very long time. The beech tree has a very significant bark. It is very even. Sometimes those spots on them, those brighter spots, and here's a little bit of moss. I can show you again only a leaf which was falling down. Camera, make it sharp. Here, now you can see it. So normally, of course, it's green. And the leaves are edible, also the small ones. They are very tasty. You can eat them as salad, smoothie, spinach, or like they are from the tree. And if you are wandering around and you are thirsty, you can eat them because it will help you against the thirsty feeling. Of course, they have not much water included, but it really helps. Try it out. And you can also eat the bark. Also a tree where you can eat everything, but the best one are the seeds. The seeds are growing in these covers. They are a little bit itchy. You have smaller ones, bigger ones, and inside are those seeds. It is a little bit tricky because you can eat the beech nuts like they are, but not much of them. So 3, 5 or small handful are possible, but more not. Why? I had to check here because I don't know the English word. They included contain hydrocyanic acid and fagin. Both is poisonous. But you can break those poisonous effect if you roasted them or put hot water over them. It is important that they got hot one time. If you roast them, they have a very tasty taste, so I like them very much. And so it is not poisonous that you fall dead from the chair if you eat it, but it makes abdominal pain and noisier. The fruits of the beech tree have included zinc, minerals and iron. In the past they use the oil because they have 40% oil inside as an lamp oil. And the trees have their own rules. We know today that trees are not lifeless creatures. They communicate and they have very special systems. You had to know that wild boars and also squirrels love the seeds of the oak tree and of the beech tree. But the trees want that their seeds stay alive and not be eaten from animals, that they have young and new trees growing around. When all are eaten up, there can no fresh tree growing. And because of this they have a system, it's called fattening years. And we know today that between 4 and 6 years they have years where they have a lot of seeds, and in the other years not so much. Because the wild boars having more babies if they have enough to eat. If there is not so much to eat, they produce not so much babies. And with this system of the trees, there are always still seeds around which are not eaten up from the animals, that they can grow. It is a very intelligent system, and it is only a small point how interesting trees are. Sorry, my English is today not the best one. In the natural medicine, they use the bark as an antipyretic effect, and the fresh leaves promote wound healing in ulcers. Also very interested is the origin of the German word for book, because the word for book is in German Buch, and the German word for beech tree is Buche. Buche, Buch. Because in the past they scratch away the bark, not such a moss bark, but like you see it before, and write their letters on it. And also the letter themselves, one letter is going back to the Germanic runes, because they were simply scratched in beech tree bark branches. Very interesting when you know how the words come from. There are 3 trees that are very similar: pine tree, fir and spruce tree. And some people cannot see the difference between fir and spruce tree, but it is very simple. So I have here 2 different branches. This here is spruce, and this is fir. You can see the difference here. By the spruce tree, the needles are everywhere around of the branch, and they are a little bit itchy. And here by the fir, the needles are only at the left and at the right side. On the top and then at the ground there are no needles, and they are softened at the ends. Maybe you know the spruce top honey. It helps a lot against cough. Spruce tree and fir are in all parts edible, which is very good. And the needles also have included a lot of vitamin C, which helps us to stay healthy. So I am now in front of small spruce trees, and I want to talk about resin, because resin is in survival and bushcraft very essential. These trees, pine tree, fern and spruce tree, included a lot of resin. That means that this wood starts burning very easy and very fast. If it is possible, use some of this wood for starting a fire. And resin can also be used as a chewing gum, because it is a little bit stretchy, and if you are I don't know the English word. When you eat something, you have to cut it with your teeth. And if you do this movement for a long time, your body will send you the signal that your stomach is full. So if you have nothing to eat, try to smash something in your mouth. Eika, bleib hier. Sorry, there is a woodworker back there. I want to tell you also once ants, the small animals, put a part of resin in front of their home, and all the ants that are coming home had to walk over it, because it is for desiccate the rooms of them. Very interesting. So I'm out for today. These are only my 5 important trees that every survivalist had to know. Of course, there's a lot more, but I can show you in each video only a little bit of them. But one thing I want to tell you at least, it is very important that you don't pick too much from one single tree, because then of course there is a damage in growing and in the healthy of the tree. Only pick a little bit from each tree and then go to the next one. And also important, many wild animals have to use all those stuff that we also can eat in the springtime, because it is the first one which is growing. So be please very careful if you pick it. So feel free to write me in the comments, how do you like this video? If you want to see more interesting videos like this with many knowledge, because there is so much more that I can teach and show you. And I could also make a video about edible wild plants in the winter, because most people think in the winter there's nothing to eat for me. But this is wrong, there is so much that you can eat. So feel free to write it in the comment which kind of videos you want to see in the future. I'm out for today, glad that you watched the video, and I hope you see us also in the next one. Have a great time, bye bye!